everyone, this is Samantha from Violet Sewing Tutorials, and today I'm going to show you guys how to make a very easy stuffed ball sewing pattern. And this is like a great pattern for beginners who have like very little experience sewing, and it has like very few materials too. And it's also pretty easy to make. And also experienced people can do it too, and they probably do it really quickly. So the materials you're going to need are 2 socks, stuffing, thread, a needle, and fabric scissors or normal scissors, anything to cut fabric. Okay, so to start, you're going to need to take your socks, and also if you have any, for this pattern you only need the toe of the sock, so if you have any leftover, if you have this leftover from another project you can use that too, and that works well, because you can just keep this and you can use that later. Cut this one off. Okay, and also for the thread, you can just use like friendship bracelets for thread. That works really well for this project, and it's really cheap, and it's better than buying normal sewing thread because then it doesn't snap as easily. So just get like enough of that so that you'll be able to sew it up with. And also ignore any other background noises. I have 2 dogs who won't be quiet, so they may bark at the background. I think they're sleeping right now, but they might make noise. So first you want to thread the needle. Starting, if I can get this on there, I can never do this. There. And then just tie a knot, because that helps it from falling off. Some people prefer not to tie the knot, but if you tie the knot, it makes it so much easier to do it later, so it doesn't come off. And that's the worst thing that can happen, is it just comes off while you're trying to work. And then at the end, you're going to want to tie a little knot. And I recommend tying a couple little knots around it, just because then it keeps it from like coming through the fabric. And if you just tie a knot in the same place over and over again, it'll get bigger. There. And just cut the tail off. These aren't very good scissors. I'm pretty sure those aren't actually fabric scissors, but fabric scissors work best, I just couldn't find mine. Okay, to start this, you're just going to want to take both pieces of the sock and just kind of fold them flat-ish, like the way they're supposed to go on the sock. If you hold those flat, they stick together better. There. Okay, so you're going to want this is kind of difficult. So you're going to start with the knot going on the back side of the sock, and then if you pull it through, yeah, this part's difficult. And then you're going to attach that to like the same side of this. So you just kind of flatten them out so they kind of fit together, like they'll curve in, which works pretty well. You have it go to the same spot, and then you're just going to use the whip stitch around it, like that. And then just keep sewing around, and it actually works really well for this project. Also keep your stitches kind of tight, or the stuffing will overflow out of it, and it'll really just end up being a mess, and you'll have a ton of holes to sew up at the end. And also just make sure your stitches are close together, or again, holes will start to form and it'll just be a mess. Because sometimes they're kind of difficult to fix. And for the whip stitch, you just want to keep putting your needle in at the same side every time and then pulling this thread through. Just keep doing this repeatedly throughout the entire toy. Yeah, that's my dog. Zeus, you're okay. There's nothing there. Alright, sorry about that. There's some people playing baseball in the field. And he decides he has to bark at them, even though they're out there every day. So you just want to continue doing this and make sure that they're still facing the right way. That would be bad. Just keep sewing it. And I'll just fast forward this till I'm done. So once you get your ball sewn up to about like enough where you can stick both thumbs in there, there should be a hole. Actually, I should probably keep sewing mine a little bit more, but you want to have a big enough hole that you can still put the stuffing in, but that way it's not like a very big hole that's difficult to actually like sew back up when you're done. So that should be good. It also looks like I got a stitch too loose, so I'm just going to go back and sew that back up. There. Alright, so that's big enough for the stuffing. So then you need to put the stuffing in there and just start filling it up as much as you want. If you want it to be softer, you can just not put as much, but if you want it to be like stiffer and also it'll grow in size a lot more, then you just fill it up with a lot. And also you don't have to use stuffing for this pattern either. You can just use like beads or like beans or something and make it more like a hacky sack instead of just a stuff, because it's really light when you do this. If you fill it with like beads, it would be like more heavy and it wouldn't like bounce off everything. Or you could do like half beads, half stuffing. Like if you experiment with it, you can figure out there's different combinations that you can do with it. And more stuffing, which I think this should be pretty good. Because you don't want it to be like you don't want to put too little stuffing that it's like just looks deflated and weird. Then you don't want to put too much to where it like kind of changes in size. Okay, and that should be enough for mine. But depending on how stretchy the toe of the sock is and how thick your stuffing is, it may be different. So you're just going to continue doing the whip stitch. Focus the camera better. Like this through. So you just want to push it through like that. I'll put it in here, and it'll go out there. And then just make sure these stitches are tight or it'll be weird. And then you'll start seeing it starting to like get its shape too. Depending on what part of the sock you use, you can also use the heel of the sock, which makes a different shape. Sometimes I've done them like the heel and the toe, and I don't remember what it turned out like, but I think it was kind of an interesting shape because one of the sides was much smaller than the other one. But if you experiment with sewing, you can find some new cool things to do with it. And that's just kind of the fun about sewing, is you could make anything. So just keep sewing it up, make sure there's no holes or you'll end up with some problems later. And also you might need to push the stuffing in too, or it'll start coming out. Almost done. And also, I would recommend just keep going a little bit over like the area that you've already done, just to make sure it went all the way through. And then you're going to want to tie a knot at the end. And I recommend tying a couple knots so that it doesn't end up coming unraveled, because that'd be a mess. It's hard to try to fix that. And when you're done with tying the knots, I usually do this just to keep it from unraveling, and also so you don't see the end of the knot when you cut the end off. You just want to put it through the thing, and you can see where it's kind of pulling in when I do that. Turn the brightness up a little bit. There. Then you're going to want to just cut it off, pull it like really tight, and then cut it, and it should go back in. And now you have a toy. It's good for kids, I guess. You could have kids play with this. I don't know if I'd give this to pets. They might destroy it. But yeah, now you guys know how to make a very simple project. This is perfect for beginners who really don't know what they're doing. And also, when you're done, make sure if you go through and like look for any holes, like I would sew that up. Like find it, if you can see the stuffing coming out of it, just put more thread on the needle and just sew it back up and then tie it off. And also, if you have any questions, go in the comment section below, and we usually will reply pretty quickly. And if you're new to our channel, make sure to subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Bye guys!